There's a new great game unfolding right now, and it is absolutely shaping our world. The main players? China and India. And this isn't just about some distant border disputes. Nope. It's a high-stakes chess match being played across oceans, inside boardrooms, and, as we're about to see, on the very phone that's probably in your hand right now. It sounds a little bit like a riddle, doesn't it? But the answer, well, it reveals this massive story of ambition, power, and strategy. And I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you'll see exactly how a bank, a port, and a simple app are all critical pieces in a global competition for influence. So here's how we're going to break it all down. Our journey starts with China's big strategic problem. Then we'll dive into its incredibly ambitious solution, the string of pearls, and see exactly how India is pushing back. From there, we'll watch this rivalry play out on the world stage, and finally, we're going to bring it right back home to the phone in your pocket. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so to really understand China's entire global strategy, you first have to understand its greatest fear. It's a problem that seriously keeps its strategists up at night, and it all comes down to one simple thing: geography. It all boils down to this one narrow strait of water, this Strait of Malacca. A huge, huge portion of China's trade, and, this is the critical part, its energy imports has to pass through here. The dilemma is that a rival power could pretty easily blockade this choke point, basically choking off China's economic lifeline. This single vulnerability right here is the key to understanding everything that comes next. So, how do you solve a problem like the Malacca dilemma? Well, China's answer is a massive, two-pronged strategy. One part is financial, and the other is very, very physical. First things first, you need money. A lot of money. Back in 2013, China launched the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, or the AIIB. Now, this wasn't just another bank. It was specifically designed to be a financial powerhouse, funding the massive projects needed for these new trade routes, while at the same time directly challenging the dominance of Western-led institutions like the World Bank. And just look at the scale of this ambition. I mean, it was only established in 2016, but the AIIB already commands nearly $100 billion in capital. And yeah, while the World Bank is larger, look at the membership numbers. The AIIB has already blown past the older Asian Development Bank, proving it can rapidly build a coalition to finance its global vision. So where does all that money go? Well, it goes into the second, much more tangible part of the solution, what's known as the string of pearls. This is China's grand strategy to build a whole network of ports and naval facilities that stretch all the way from its mainland to Africa, securing its trade routes right across the Indian Ocean. And here is that strategy in action. Each of these ports, you've got Gwadar in Pakistan, Hambantota in Sri Lanka, and a bunch of others, is like a single pearl on a strategic string. But let's be very clear, these aren't just commercial hubs. They are potential naval outposts, giving China a permanent and powerful footprint right in what India considers its own backyard. Of course, China's big moves haven't exactly gone unnoticed, especially by the other giant in the region. From India's perspective, this network isn't just about economic development. It's a direct threat. From New Delhi's point of view, this isn't a string of pearls. It's a noose. The term Indian strategists actually use is encirclement. They look at the map and see these ports surrounding them, threatening their traditional sphere of influence and their national security. And, when you feel like you're being encircled, you respond. So what you have is this classic case of action and reaction. In response to China's string of pearls, India has developed its very own counter-strategy, the necklace of diamonds. To counter China's pearls, India is out there forging its own network of alliances and bases with countries from Iran all the way to Singapore, creating a strategic necklace of its own. But it's not just about military bases. India's biggest countermove is economic. Unveiled at the G20, the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, or IMEC for short, is this incredibly ambitious plan to create a modern-day spice route, a seamless trade corridor that is designed to directly compete with China's vision for the world. So how on earth does this thing work? Well, it's pretty amazing. A multimodal marvel. Goods travel by sea from India to the UAE, then they get transferred to a brand new rail network that crosses the Middle East all the way to Israel, and then they're shipped off again to Europe. It's a direct attempt to build a faster, more secure trade route that completely bypasses the routes China is trying to control. Now, this competition isn't just about maps and shipping lanes. It's also playing out in the halls of global power. Inside organizations like the G20 and BRICS, That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, where these two giants are actually supposed to be partners. And this quote, I think, just hits the nail on the head. Even within groups like BRICS, where they share some common goals, their deep-seated strategic rivalry and very different ways of doing things often lead to competition, not cooperation. You could say they're in the same club, but they are absolutely playing for different teams. What we're really seeing here is a textbook case of what's called the security dilemma. Think about it. China builds ports to feel more secure, which in its eyes is a purely defensive move. But India sees those ports as an offensive threat and responds by building up its own network. Each step one takes to feel safer makes the other feel less safe, and that locks them both in this escalating spiral of tension. But here's the thing. This isn't just some abstract game for generals and diplomats. This global rivalry has very, very real consequences that reach all the way down to the apps you use every single day. That's because today's competition isn't just fought with ships and ports, it's also fought with software. The economic and strategic rivalry has spilled over onto a brand new digital battlefield, and it's turned our own devices into the front line. And hey, remember that riddle I asked at the very beginning? Well, here is the final piece of that puzzle. Citing national security concerns, India has gone and banned hundreds of Chinese mobile apps. Familiar names, right? AliExpress, Sting Talk, Snack Video, they're suddenly just gone. And just like that, this high-level strategic conflict lands right in the palm of your hand. So we're left with this huge paradox. All of these massive projects, the pearls, the diamonds, these new economic corridors, they're all sold to us as ways to better connect the world. But as this new great game picks up speed, are they actually building bridges? Or are they drawing the battle lines for a new kind of wall, a digital one, that could divide the world for decades to come? Honestly, the answer to that question will probably define the 21st century.